All right, so in this session, basically, we are going to talk about a very important concept in Pega, really very important in the case management. So please pay attention to this. This is called work party. Work party. Let's try to understand what exactly this is. Let's talk about Pega itself. Pega, we have case types. Case type, we execute them. Their instances are called cases, right? For example, loan application, you will define the loan application process and everything in the case designer. That's a new case type, and every time you create a loan application, that's a case. We also call that as a work object or work. So party, any entity, any person who is party, who is a stakeholder to that case, is called work party. Okay, so is Pega stakeholders, basically the stakeholders in your case, who might be the customer, they might be the owner, they might be the reviewing manager, they might be some government organization who are interested in the case and cases status, or they might have to play a role in that case. They all are called party, they all are called stakeholder. You often need that. Let's talk about a few examples where you will need a stakeholder. Okay, if we talk about a very simple situation, a loan application itself, there's a concept in the loan application where there is one applicant, there could be co-applicant as well, right? So if you talk about the applicant, co-applicant, and there can be guarantor as well, right? There can be basically a home branch, there can be a reviewer, a sanction officer, and they all, during the loan application, they all might be playing some role. Some are just there for the information. For example, once the guarantor might be just interested for the information how the case is progressing. The co-applicant might be just interested in how the application is being done. The applicant might have to take some action on the case as well. The branch can be also a stakeholder who will be processing your loan, right? And there might be a relationship manager who will be managing your relationship with the bank, right? So these are stakeholders. Let's talk about another example. uh, you guys know that we have a lot of a lot of government run scheme, and those are run by different ministries, different departments of the government. A simple situation could be, let's say, what could be, oh yeah, let's say driving license application, right? There, basically you apply for it, there will be a government entity, the transport department, they will be a stakeholder in that application. You yourself as a customer or as an applicant will be stakeholder. So there are several such scenario everywhere in financial world. Every time you write an application, almost every time you will have a role for a stakeholder in that application. Sometimes those applicants are just interested in the case, they want to uh, be notified about the progress when approved, rejected. Sometimes they might have to take action on the case. Sometimes um, they just basically be the subject of that case, like customer itself. Okay, so this is very well managed in Pega as well. So we manage them through a different rule called work party. Work party is a rule. If you open your case, you will find in the process category, you will find something called work parties, and this is the rule where we defined what kind of work party is permitted on the insurance case. So it's a two-way process. Okay, you will have to define who can be stakeholder, what type of stakeholder can be there. Okay, and this is a work party is this is a feature which is implemented through a different class. The class is data hyphen party that actually defines the work party structure any case need to have or can have. Data hyphen party. Let's look at this class first, and then we will come back to the case. This is the basically wrapper for the data party, and you see five type of participant allowed in Pega. Okay, a company, a government institution, an operator who is operator on Pega, an organization, NGO basically, and a person. Remember, this operator has a profile in Pega. Others are just data model entities, right? If you look at the company structure, of course, all the common data model properties of the data party is defined in the data party class itself. You can see that work party URI is most important property, and then role, what is their role, what is the subscript. There might be more than one stakeholder, right, of the same type, email and all that, home address, middle name, first name, last name, state, all those information that a work party can have, basically a company can have, a government or institution can have, an operator can have, an organization can have, and a person can have. They all properties are defined, they are directly in the work class, sorry, data class. And some are actually defined in the specialized classes as well. So for example, person is there, right? There are certain processes defined for the person who are basically common for person, who are basically applicable for person only. It's a little slow today, just give it a minute. 1 minute. It's little, come on. All right. So there are certain correspondence, basically email, some validation, validate rule. These are all written there. Remember, these are being used in the case, okay, in the work object, but the definition is provided just like how you define any data model, okay. So these are all defined externally, but they are actually used in the work object in the case. All right, good. So with that prefix, I'm going to basically show you how do you define the work party on the case. So you can just open your case, let's say insurance plan. And I want to define basically, so let's say that this case will, customer will call, let's say customer is not directly initiating. This case will be created by employee of the company on the behalf of the customer, and you will assign that employee as a owner of this case. That employee has to see this case through, okay, from the beginning to completion. So go to the setting, and there is a participant tab. Pega automatically gives you three party role, okay, pre-configured. You can remove them, you do not necessarily need to have them, okay, and add the participant you want. I'm going to add owner. Owner is an operator. And do you want to allow multiple participant? There cannot be multiple owner, right? Just simple one owner. Okay. Create automatically. Sometime you can create automatically. I will come to this one. Okay. I'm going to add the owner as a participant. Now, owner is going to be the current operator, right? Who is creating the case? The create operator, right? So if I say that, okay, create the case automatically, just give it a minute, right? So I would say that, okay, create the case automatically when the case starts. At that time, you need to add a data transform. There are several out of the box data transform. Current operator is going to add the current user during the creation of the case and add that as a work party automatically. If you have chosen this, automatically add automatically. So I will keep it very simple at this point of time. I'm going to add the current operator as a owner and create the participant automatically when the case starts. Okay, good. So this is done. Now let me create a case. So when the case is creating, Pega will come to this rule. It will see that owner is supposed to be added at the start of the case, and the data transform which will provide the detail of the owner is current operator data transform. So Pega will automatically execute that I am the current operator. So it will add me as a work participant with the title or with the role owner. So running very slow today. Okay. So see, this is the owner. I am already added as a owner, right? And this was the data transform. It automatically just maps the current operator ID and all the details. See, from the requester page, which is a clipboard page, that's where my user identifier it adds me as a participant there as an owner. Okay, we can add other. For example, when you enter the customer detail, we can add the customers, but how do we add them? How do we add participant when the case is in progress? Maybe, see, you will never know who the customer is, right? Until you have entered the customer detail. So maybe after this screen, you want to add a participant as customer. After this customer submits that form, then you need to add it. So how do we do it in the during the case flow, during the case progression? This is something that we will learn in the next session. This session we will keep it simple to understand what the work participants are, um, what are the classes, basically what are the type of the work participant we can have. So we saw one more thing basically in this session itself. So we saw this definition. Remember, whatever you define from the work from the setting tab of the case, that all gets reflected into a PY. There is a work party rule actually, PY case management default in the work class under the process category. That actually changes from whatever change you make here. That change is reflected through a rule, PY case management default. This is the work parties rule, okay? And whatever changes you have made, it will reflect there. So we had three, we removed them, we added one. You will see there is only one entry at this point of time in this rule. So this is party definition, okay? Owner, this is the class of the owner because we selected operator type, and this is the data transform. Voice over entry means that create it at the beginning. Is it required? Without this participant your case will not work. If you have check it as required. All right, so the and actually if you add any role here as well, let me add one more role here, that will be reflected on the case as well. Customer, I will just define the customer, okay? And this is person, it's not an operator, so I'll just define it as person. um, I will not provide any data transform at the moment, no voice over entry, just definition that. Okay, and can this be repeatable? Can there be more than one customer? If yes, just add that role here. Basically, if it is repeatable, there could be more than one customer, then you do this. At the moment I will not mark it as repeatable. I'll just add it. And now if you go and refresh the case type, You will see the changes you made from the backend will be reflected on the case setting tab. See here, if I, for example, here say allow multiple participant, save it. See, multiple. A sign comes in and that will be reflected here too. And a customer will be added here if I refresh this rule. See, allow multiple. So multiple customer can be there, not just one. All right, so we will conclude this session right here. I'll keep it simple. In this part two of this session, I'm going to explain you how to add work party at the runtime during the case progression at any step. Okay, and what are the out of the box method available to add work party at the runtime. Okay, so that's something we will cover in part two of this session. Thank you.